Hello everybody, welcome back to Five Fuel Junction, and once again I've got another review for you today. But as we can see, I've got something slightly different today. Yeah, it's a manufacturer that I haven't looked at before. As you can see, we've got a Vitrains logo for us today, or yeah, Vitrains or Vitrains. I'm pretty sure it's Vitrains is how you're supposed to pronounce it, but obviously you might pronounce it differently. But I'm pretty sure it's Vitrains is how you pronounce the name of the company anyway. And yeah, it's a manufacturer that I've never looked at before. This isn't mine, this logo. This logo has been loaned to me because it needed a little bit of work doing to it. So yeah, it was sent over with a couple more things, just to have a bit of repair work done to it, and maybe it's quick service and everything. And they very kindly allowed me to do a review on it, which was very nice of them. I really do appreciate it. It's very, very kind. Anything that is sent in to me, I usually almost always ask if I can do any videos on it, but obviously, but as it's not mine, I don't really want to do anything or do a video or do any work to someone's logo without permission, because that wouldn't really be right, would it? But they have very kindly let me do a video on it, which again I really do appreciate. It's very, very kind. So yeah, well, here we are. So we can see it's here in front of us. So what is it? Well, as you can see, if you haven't worked it out already by the very not the best photo, but the very nice photo on the photo. Well, the diagram, I suppose it's not really a photo, is it? The diagram on the front of the box. It's a Vitrains Class 37 today. Now, Vitrains, they don't really get talked about an awful lot. Sorry, my voice has started to go a bit there. Yeah, Vitrains, they don't really get talked about that much. They're not a very common company. They're not around anymore, unfortunately, which is a bit of a shame. Sorry, having to keep clearing my throat. But yeah, they don't get talked about an awful lot. They're not around anymore, which again is a shame, because the models that they produce, they're not too bad. The Vitrains logos, because they did 37s, quite obviously, and they did 47s as well. And they might have done a few others as well. I'm not too sure, but I know they did a few different models. Again, I'm not entirely sure which ones they were. So yeah, again, sorry for the edit there. I just thought I'd be best to try and clear my throat off camera a bit rather than on camera. But hopefully we'll be fine now for a bit. But yeah, Vitrains, again, I'm not entirely sure how many models they actually produced. Obviously, again, I know they did the 37s and the 47s, but I'm not entirely sure which other logos they did. They might have only done those two. Again, I'm not too sure. But they're not very common. Again, they're not around anymore. I don't know if they just went bust or if someone else bought them out. I'm not too sure. But the models that they did do, they weren't too bad. weren't bad at all. You can still get them second hand. Again, I'm not too sure how common they are. They might be a bit rare now. But if you do manage to get one of the Vitrains models, then you should be impressed. They're not too bad at all. The box it's not too bad. It's quite nice. It doesn't give you an awful lot of info of the model that's actually inside. If we just have a look at the end, here we go. It's a locomotive Class 37. It's number 37422. It doesn't tell you the livery though, which is a bit strange. I don't know why Vitrains did that. This particular one is an EWS livery, or EWS. Can't quite remember exactly which it is. I think it's EWS, but we'll see in a second when we open the box. But yeah, it's not a bad box. The Vitrains packaging is nice. It feels nice and sturdy. I still think probably the block of ice packaging from other manufacturers is probably a bit nicer. But it's this particular packaging. It's not too bad. It's not too bad at all. There's nothing else much interesting on the box. It's fairly bland. So if we lift up this lid, we can open up the box. So we've got a nice sort of foam packaging inside here, which is quite nice. It's nice that Vitrains did this. Dapol will obviously do it as well. It's not too bad. It's pretty nice packaging. We've got some instructions here. So if we just have a quick look at these, just open them up. So we've got a list there of all the parts, should you need to replace any, although you won't really be using this anymore. At least not to order them from Vitrains, because, well, won't have much luck there. Now, if we go to the other side, we can see there, it talks about fitting the accessories. Sorry, I do apologise that I have to keep clearing my throat. But I think you don't really want to keep having to put loads of edits in the video for that, but I'll do my best to not do it too much. As we can see there, we've got the logo there, and this is one of the famous things I think with Vitrains logos, is that about 50% of the detail you have to put on yourself. The majority of the detail, things like the horns, snowplows, lamp hooks, the windscreen wipers, all sorts of detail like that. You all have to fit yourself, and it's all in here. Obviously, I'm not going to fit any of it. I don't think any of it's actually been fitted, actually. Well, there might have been a bit that's fitted, but I think most of it is still in here. It hasn't been fitted. So that's one of the things with the Vitrains models. You have to do some assembly yourself. But that's one of the things why these weren't as expensive, such as Batman locos or Hornby locos. They were cheaper because obviously, well, you had to do some assembly yourself. But some people might prefer that. There might be some people out there who might prefer fitting this detail themselves. I personally would rather it all came fitted from the factory, which is why I've never bothered getting one of these. But it's still okay. Again, the people out there might prefer it, so it's not too bad. We can see inside there a bit about the inside. We've got a nice circuit board inside with an 8-pin socket to put a chip. There is a chip in here. It's only a Hornby one, but it's the Loco one does run quite well, which is nice. But at least if you wanted to fit a chip to one of these locos, it's nice and easy to do. There's no screws holding the body on. It's just clipped on. Not incredibly. Doesn't seem most secure. The body does feel a bit looser, especially on this one, and getting it on and off is a bit of a pickle sometimes. It might be better if it was screwed on, but overall it's okay. Then we've got a bit there about the body removal there. Now it talks about how to remove the body. Again, it's just 4 clips, and then you just lift up the body. So it's not too bad. Overall, not too bad. So if we grab the loco, we'll very, very carefully lift it out. So, that's the body shell moving about. There we go. So if we just lift it out, put that bit of plastic back in there, then we can put the packaging to one side. And here we are. So it does look a little bit bland at the moment, because obviously a lot of the detail hasn't been fitted. But as it is, it's not too bad. Again, talking about the body, you can see it does move about a bit. It doesn't feel that secure, but it's okay. It's not terrible, I suppose, but it's not the most secure body in the world, in my opinion. But again, if you have one of these, your experience might be different. So we can see there it's 37422, and it is EWS, so it's not EW and S. I'm not sure why there was a difference, unless it was just EW and S to start with when they first came in. Then they changed it just to EWS, maybe. I could be wrong, but it might be something like that. This one was named Cardiff Canton. As you might know, Bachmann have recently done their new Class 37, and they've already released a couple. This is one of them. It's a club exclusive. Some of you might already have it. Some of you might be getting it, or you might be like me, where it's no interest to you. But yeah, if you want to get this particular loco, then you might be better off with the Batman one. But you could get this if you want to, if you don't want to pay the ridiculous price of the Batman one. But at least there's a couple of different versions out there of this model out there if you want to. If you either want to pay an awful lot and get a really good model, or pay less and get a model like this. Overall, there's plenty of choice, I suppose. The buffers are sprung. That one's a little bit stiff. I think they are just plastic buffers, but they don't feel too bad. They're quite nice. The mechanism inside these it's not too bad. You've got a nice motor in the centre, 2 flywheels, which goes into 2 worm gears, but it only drives the outer axles on each bogie. So it's 4 of the axles are driven. The centre wheels are just dummies. If they don't do anything, and if I just show you, you can see they just turn freely. I don't think they even pick up either. I'm pretty sure again it's just the outer wheels that's on each bogie that just pick up. Why Vitrains did that, I'm not too sure. Again, I'm not entirely sure exactly how old these models are, but it could just be due to age that they just chose to do the pickups the way they did. If I can just show you, can see there those 2 little bits of metal there. There's obviously one on each side of this bogie, and it's the same on the other one. And those pickups then just touch. If you just look at that wheel there, you can see where the wheel is sort of there's a bit of like a small wheel or something on it. It's a bit hard to describe what it is. It's almost like a bearing as such on there that's got a bit of a lip on the outside of it, and that bit of metal basically touches the top of that bit of metal there on the wheel, and that's how the loco picks up. Again, it's just on the outer wheels in each bogie. It doesn't seem like the most reliable solution in my opinion, but it does seem to work okay. The model has ran around my layout quite extensively, and it did not cut out. At least after I gave the track and the wheels a clean, it was fine. So whilst not being probably the best pickup solution in my opinion, it does seem to work quite well, so that's good. However, one of the main downsides with these models, as you can probably see, is we do have traction tyres. There's a traction tyre there, and there's also a traction tyre there. I don't know why they did that. Again, it could just be just from around when this model was released, the traction tyres were a bit of the norm, but this model doesn't need them. That's one of the things with these though, they are very heavy. You don't need traction tyres on a model like this because, to be honest, this probably weighs around the same as a Batman 37, maybe ever so slightly less, maybe a bit more, but it's roughly around the same as a Batman 37. So yeah, you don't really need the traction tyres on this. So again, why they've done that, I don't know. But well, you can't really do anything else but put up with them, I suppose, unless you wanted to change the wheel out for a wheel that doesn't have a traction tyre or something. It might be a bit difficult, but yeah, that's a bit of a shame that we have traction tyres, but these ones still seem to be in very good condition, so that's a good thing, I suppose. The livery application, though, that's one thing we haven't talked about yet. The livery application is very, very nice. It's beautifully crisp, there's no paint bleed anywhere. There's quite a nice shine to the paintwork as well. I don't think there's any etch nameplates. There might be, but I haven't checked. But the nameplate that's printed on there as standard does look pretty good. It's not too bad. We've got a nice etch grid on the top as well with a nice separately fitted fan underneath. The fan isn't driven by the motor, but it still looks good, which is nice. We've got some nice exhaust as well. You can't see through them though, but at least they're like a separate colour. They're not actually properly moulded, sort of like these hatches or whatever. Well, I forgot what they're called now, but the panels, there you go, that's the word. Yeah, they're not like the panels where they're moulded in. They are properly sort of there is holes there for the exhaust, so it's better. It's not like the Lima ones or the Hornby Railroad ones, which is quite nice. Again, you can see where the details are supposed to go that you can fit yourself. So you can see the horns go there. On the front of the logo, you can see there should be lamp hooks there, or at least up there. She does have working lights. There is directional lighting in this one. The tail lights there in these is not great. I must admit, they are quite dim. The tail lights in these is not great. The headlights are okay. They're not too bad, but yeah, the tail lights, they are quite dim. Which is a bit of a shame, but at least you've got directional lights. There are other locos out there that don't have them, so you can't complain too much, but they aren't the best. I know on one end the tail lights are really dim, that they can barely be seen. Compared to us, they can only really be seen in the dark. But at least they are there. It's nice to have them. You've got more warning signs as well. The underframe detail is okay. There's not much of it. Although saying that, the bogies are not too bad. You've got some nice detail on the bogies. The axle boxes are painted, but the fuel tank is quite plain. There's not much on it. But overall, it's okay. But overall, it's not a bad model. It's not a bad model by any means. It's definitely not as good as the Batman 37s. And it definitely won't be anywhere near as good as the Acura scale ones. But as it is, it's not bad. It is a good model. And also, one of the good things about these is that they also run very well. So if we put her on the track, we can see how she runs. Okay, so here we are. We're on the inner loop once again today. I would go on the outer loop, but there's currently a train on there, and I currently don't have anywhere to put it. So yeah, we're on the inner loop again today, but hopefully we'll be able to return to the outer loop fairly soon. But at least there's nothing wrong with going on the inner loop. I know the outer loop is a bit better, but we'll be perfectly fine on the inner loop. But there we go, the logo's on, I think. Main wheels that you want to worry about being on or not is those centre wheels on the bogies, because again, they're not driven by the motor, so they do move a bit from side to side. But we should be fine. The loco is still currently default number 3, which is already selected. So if we just put her lights on, and that's probably the tail lights there, change direction. There we go. Yeah, those headlights, they're not too bad. But again, if I change direction, yeah, you can't see the tail lights. They are on, but yeah, you can barely see them. But if we just give the logo a bit of a wiggle, yeah, she is a little bit noisy, but overall she's okay. She's not bad. It's definitely better than a lot of other models out there. And again, it is only a Hornby decoder that's in here at the moment, so that will partially be why the performance isn't 100%. But overall, it's not too bad. So let's get her running and see what she's like. So I've got her going at about 50% speed, and as you can see, it's not too bad. Nice and smooth, not perfectly silent. She is a little bit grindy, but once she's had a few laps of the layout, she should hopefully get better. There's definitely plenty of oil on the mechanism because when I dismantled her to do some repairs, there was plenty of lubricant. But yeah, overall, she's not bad. She's not bad at all. Again, I'm not too sure how hard it is or easy it is to get hold of one of these. But if you do get one, you won't be disappointed. They are fantastic models. So if you do want to get one, I recommend you do.